So welcome to our Wednesday game, even though I'm showing the Tuesday characters. I will quickly fix that part. Handy to be able to do that. Yeah, they're the right people for this one. Amusingly, no one else picks that up yet. But hey, we did have a full 12 months go by that no one picked up that the Friday game intro said Wednesday. So that was an interesting thing for me to stumble across and going, hey, how long have I been doing that mistake? So, welcome to our game. We're up to session number 118. And we have, which is also, looking at the various places I have stuff, it is Phase 3, Season 2, Episode 11. It is the 11th episode in the year 1011. For some reason I was writing down 13. And it is the 27th day of the 4th month, coming to the end of the middle of spring. The characters are in Karamikos at the River Fork Keep, and they are negotiating with Bargul to help save the world, even though most of them would never have believed that possible. So today at the online today we have Rhiannon.
Hi, I'm playing Hilden, the Genasi Cleric Ranger.
Yep. And what's something that they should remember about your character?
She's very active in trying to keep an eye out for threats.
Okay, so next up we have today is Jeremy. We may not be back yet. Or on mute. I'll go if not back yet. So we'll skip over here and come back. Next up we have is Sean.
Hi, I'm playing Garrett, the Elven Druid, who is definitely not an arsonist. And first was on fire when he got there.
Hey, you can actually become such a fire specialist that everything starts to catch fire around you.
Yes.
Up next we have Martin.
Oh, g'day. I'm playing a Wood Elf Pendai Monk. He tends to use weapons rather than his hands and feet. And that's about it. Level 12. Cool.
And next up we have is Elliot.
Hey, I'm playing Dofard, the Elven Warlock. Something, I guess, of note is just his sort of, I guess, the general colour palette of his, both his sort of personal characteristics like hair and eyes and that sort of thing, as well as his actual clothes, somehow seem to subtly shift over time.
Yeah. It is amusing how that can happen. And not appearing tonight at this stage is Valen, who will be in the background, who is an elven fighter. Okay, so Jeremy will pipe in when he gets back, which hopefully won't be too long. Does anyone remember what happened last session?
I think we were just about to leave the keep. We'd stayed and cured some key people in River Keep, and the idea is that we were going to keep going to the Shires to meet the Halflings, so that not only because we want to get them, stop them invading so we can get them to help with the war against the Master, but also with the idea of getting their help for the River Fort Keep, with the promise of the pirate treasure that the
The Bargle the Infamous was carrying.
yes, the one that the Baron nicked off him.
So did any of you actually look up Bargle the Infamous between sessions, or look at the original red box set,
Yes.
Play Adventure?
Yes, I did some reading.
And you can sort of see how quickly he became one of the most hated wizards in D&D.
Yep.
Because no matter what you do, he screws you over. So
I'm waiting for that, but he has promised at this point that he will give back the pirate treasure that the halflings were going to invade to find anyway, so we will see.
yes, whether or not it's still intact, working, and not a Trojan, will come out in the end.
Yes.
Okay, so it is morning. You have seen the sacrificial hobgoblins who have been prepared with the blessings of our wizard to go take on the Ashen King's forces and delay them to give you room to escape. They're all pumped and excited to serve their lord.
Not entirely knowing that it's a kamikaze mission.
Yep.
Well, people rarely get to compare notes when they work for someone like that. So what's worse, the person who wants to consume the world, or the person who just makes other people's lives misery but doesn't destroy the world?
Probably the second is better.
It's what
I mean,
it's what they say.
nature is not nice.
Well, they do say the lesser of two evils is the one most people choose. And I'm sure that Bargle in his entire career has tried to be the lesser evil. He is willing to offer the rest of you his blessing as well.
Oh no, I think I'm good.
Yep, no.
He's just a predator using prey.
Well, everything is his plaything, including the current body he's occupying.
Yep.
You would expect him to actually be here in person, would you?
No.
So, depending on the magics you learn, you can literally take over other people's bodies as if they're your own. And when that dies, you just go back to your own.
I was going to ask, is he possessing a body or is it a simulacrum?
Hard to tell.
Okay.
That does sound useful.
If you manage to kick his soul out of it and the body doesn't shrivel up and die, then possibly it was a simulacrum. But it may literally be he's already consumed the soul that once inhabited the body.
He tentatively seems to be along the same goals as we currently are, and it's not worth testing anything to piss him off.
He's at least not openly against them, so that's counts for something.
Yes.
He's never openly against a single thing.
I was fully preparing to go in and try and somehow fight the hordes of undead that seemed to be there. And the fact that we were able to walk in and get a decent night's sleep without conflict was nice.
Yes, surrounded by monstrous undead who were all intelligent and free-thinking.
Yeah, I didn't really feel prepared for that battle yet.
And one of them being called a Death Knight.
Yeah.
And he's known as the Black Knight of Karamikos. Or literally Troll. So, Jeremy, would you like to introduce yourself now that you're back?
Good evening, all. Yes, I'm playing Demetrios, the humble, generous, kind-hearted soul of the Karamikon Soldaran community.
And now best buddy of Bargle.
Apparently. And yes, just always out there to lend a guiding hand to those in need.
Okay, so they were just getting ready to depart, having seen the hobgoblins all pumped up and ready for their secret mission. And Bargle has offered to bless the party, and the only person who hasn't had a chance to reject that is Dimitri.
Dimitri's fine, thanks very much, yes.
Pretty much what everybody else said.
Yep.
Well, I did check to see if anyone had looked him up.
I'm glad someone was listening to Dimitri.
Even the arsonist decided he didn't need to explode in flames.
Not yet, at least.
Not someone else's flames, at least.
Yes. It's a life goal, but you don't just have to get to fulfill your life goals yet.
Yes.
Okay, so as you mount up, you do see that the undead, who can maintain their stance quite well over the whole period you were there, because they don't have to move to feel comfortable. All salute Dimitri and Trellin as they get ready to leave.
At least they're polite. And aware of the social niceties.
Well, Dimitri is literally a descendant of theirs.
Yep.
With enough generations, who knows which one's actually in your bloodline.
Hey, family recognition, always nice.
Okay, when I came along, you were talking about the Death Knight. Okay. AKA Uncle.
And has been prophesized as the one to kill Drazzle in your party.
Oh, so the Black Knight of Karamikos is supposed to kill you, Dimitri.
Well, no, you said Drazzle.
Oh, Drazzle, sorry.
Look at our Dragonborn storyteller. Or, I'll rephrase that. Dragonborn story writer never tells the stories.
True.
Well, it's hard. If he ever tells a story, he has to make it true.
So what happens if he tells a story that contradicts another story?
Well, he has to go back in time and make it the true story.
Oh yeah, of course, we've got the whole time thing.
So he's very careful about what stories he does say.
That's why he liked a lot of stories, but he doesn't tell them.
Okay, so you have seen a couple of new stars have appeared in the skies, which is a rather unusual occurrence.
So we have new stars.
Yes, 6 new stars have appeared in the sky. More of the southern sky for where you guys are.
Certainly, yes, Dimitri would note that for curious. Is there any apparent reason as to why there might be 16 stars in the sky?
Let's give Dimitri an insight roll to see if he can remember what phenomenon usually causes this.
Okay, so my guess would be the return of the 6 primordials back in, but we'll go here whether or not Dimitri has the chance to know about that yet. I'm not certain. So, insight is theirs. 21.
Okay, so normally a single star is an omen more than a single star, a constellation generally means some major upheaval in the cosmic realm. And he did hear from the Wednesday group that they believe that the primordial titans have ascended.
Or the Tuesday group or the Friday group?
Tuesday group, sorry.
Tuesday, okay. Okay, so we got the, I wasn't certain whether we heard from the Tuesday group yet on that issue, because of course they've been on the Isle of Dread where the messages may not be getting through. So,
Well, they can go out, they just can't go in.
yeah.
When did this happen? Because I'm not sure Hildren would be very familiar with the southern skies, constellations and stuff.
Well, you would see where those stars are, even from where you are, because it's on the southern horizon, not the actual southern skies.
So I would have. Okay.
So you know how in our thing you can see the North Star fairly easily in the northern horizon.
Yeah.
It's imagine you can see a south star, a south cluster of stars that weren't there previously.
So I would have been able to see them even when I was recently homed out up in the northern regions.
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay, how long have they been up there? They've only been up for, like, returned in the last 2 nights, aren't they?
You only notice them this day, as you can actually see them during the day.
Yeah. Because, of course, the other factor that's recently occurred is the sun's rising in the east again.
It is.
And we're sitting in the west on pretty big oasis.
And the seasons seem to have reset themselves in this timeline.
But yes.
And you are about
The Major also be happy to expand upon and expound the reasons and stories behind the new stars in the sky, and the fact that they're so bright at this day because of the recent ascendancy. It is likely that they will settle a more and an elimination over time.
So nature's sort of returning to its natural balance. Sort of.
As far as possible in the current world, yes.
I'm just thinking my connection with my god, who is a nature god, it's probably would have possibly been considered a positive change.
Well, it is a change. Hard to tell if it's positive or not, because that means that there's now more gods messing around than there were previously.
And change is just change.
Change is just change. Nothing ever stays the same. No matter how much the sphere of matter wants everything to be stagnant and not unchanging. Which is amusingly also the sphere of life.
The one factor that is probably more positive in the situation is that the fact that the primordials have ascended and potentially gone via the Feywild, so therefore now that they've returned or after being released, their power should still not be available to the Master, which was the reason they got released in the first place.
So we've limited the amount of power that the Master can gain.
Yes.
Well, it sounds like a positive thing.
Mostly positive, yes.
You always hope for the best and plan for the worst. Okay.
I guess talking about hoping for the best and planning for the worst, something I forgot to do last time. I've got ability glance the future. So basically roll a d20 and save the result to swap out later at some point in time, one per rest.
Fair enough.
So I should probably do that now?
You should do that now.
Oh, you might as well do it. It's obviously, it doesn't make any difference to hold it for later.
3.
Whether it's just a dice you want to hold on to or use, different question.
Yeah, well, it worked out to be a 3, so something's going to fail.
Can you impose it on somebody else? Is it like a divination wizard thing?
It's any creature within 60 feet.
Oh, okay.
So you
can
can-
give it some. Yeah.
So in a fight, you could change a nat 20 into a 3.
I think so.
Awesome.
Depends on if it says it's applied before the person's rolled. Some of them actually apply instead of the roll.
But even then, it's still a case of you could have someone that be because that's unlikely to be better or worse, or no, sorry, unlikely to be better than what they might have otherwise rolled.
Yeah, I'll go and double check the rules, but yes. For now, it's a 3.
Yes, which is always good when you can see how badly things can go. Okay, so reminding everyone.
Unfortunately, the level up websites are currently down.
Okay, so you are about to head out through the forest of the River Fork Woods,
Indeed.
which is about a day's journey to the border of the Shires. But
So are we likely to reach another keep or some village or something, and then, or are we going to be camping one night at least?
you'll be camping one night either in the Fey Woods of the River Fork Woods or in the pasture lands of the Shires.
Okay.
I'm sure either is fraught with danger depending on who you've alienated of recently.
I haven't had much time to alienate many people, but I am traveling with Dimitri, so.
How could Dimitri possibly alienated anyone?
And many of the fey creatures of the world exist out of time, so they know the different timelines.
Yeah.
So they will know things you may have done or could have done in a different timeline and hold that against you.
Oh no.
Fun.
But again, obviously we'll be fine. So, unless someone's done something, then obviously Dimitri would help. So okay.
And it's not like Dimitri didn't set up shop in another Fey Wood.
Good enough.
Okay, so as you are traveling through the forest, you do come across a 150-foot wide river passing through the forest, which has a set of stepping stones.
This is where my question of do my boots allow water walking comes into the game.
They do, but they don't help your mount.
True.
My monk abilities automatically give me that unarmored movement, so I don't need a horse.
Yeah.
I do have mingle with the wind. I'm just trying to figure out if that can only be applied to me. Whoa. Mingle with the wind is basically levitate without using a spell slot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if I could levitate my horse and just walk across the river.
You could.
If I do that, I could also extend a rope, like we could tie a rope to make it easier for other people to cross with a handhold. How wide is the river again?
The river is 150 feet wide.
So if 3 of us have 50 foot of rope, we could tie them all together. I could walk across and levitate my horse and then tie it off on the other side, and that would hopefully make the skill check you'd need to do to cross the stepping stones easier. Unless somebody else has a better idea.
I have plant growth. Probably use that to make a plant bridge. Actually, no, the wording of that just makes it overgrown.
I've got a flying carpet, so we could all just sit on that and just cross the river.
Could the horses sit on the flying carpet?
No.
No.
I've
He
got
doesn't-
the
he
ability
doesn't
to
make
make 4
horses.
things fly for 10 minutes, but I don't know what horses would do if they suddenly could fly.
I have a feeling this would not be the first time I've levitated my horse.
Yes, and the unfortunate thing with levitating a horse is he still has a lot of bulk you have to control as you're pushing him.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
you may find that part of the spell there's like a weight limit that might put beyond the loading the horse, but
I seem to remember levitate can do quite a bit.
Yep.
Let me look it up.
But, I mean, the ultimate element that we're in a rather wide river, but obviously there's a bit of a ford because there's a stepping stone getting across here.
I mean, I also have a good deck score. I'm quite happy to just jump across.
Like, is it wide enough? Is it designed to be a ford point where horses and carts and things like that are also getting across?
Well, it is not a well-maintained track, so it looks like it's more designed for horses than carts.
Yep.
I can levitate up to 500 pounds.
Yeah, I think horses are heavier than that. I could be wrong, but
So horses roughly weigh 1,000 to 1,500 pounds.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
just
okay.
500 pounds is a very obese human, but still within range of human size. So.
In
Hey, it's
comparison,
pounds. I don't know them that well.
in comparison, it's about 500 to 600 kilos for a horse.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I think it's roughly, you halve it, and that's kilos. Give or take that percentage.
2.2 pounds per kilo. So, yes. So, does it look like this pack has been used all recently?
Looks like
it's not used often.
Looks like it hasn't really been used in potentially 6 months. Not since before winter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even if I walked across and we put the rope on and then we attach the horses to the rope, if they slip, as long as the rope is secure enough, we should still be able to deal with it.
Are there trees on both sides of the river?
There are, and even trees in the middle of the river.
I can use transport via plants to make a portal between them.
That would work.
Specify how big the portal is. It just says a creature can step into it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's the one I think of, you should be able to put a horse through it, but you've got to move in like 6 seconds.
Yeah, I can make a 6-second opening that we can use to get across.
You can do that.
Okay. Is there anything about this wood or board or things like that that raises suspicions?
The woods themselves are known for having deep connections to the mischievous fae, mostly the Unseelie, as is the Blight Swamp, also being home to dragonkind.
Yeah. But, I mean, it all goes on there that we have been travelling through this forest, well, certainly all day since the
leaving the keep.
Bible Castle, or the fort, I should say. And is it technically was it the same, or was the Plain Cut Forest considered on the eastern side of the fort as well, like the southeastern side?
The entire River Fort Woods is considered a Fey Wood.
Yeah. So we've been travelling through it for a few days.
You went around. You went around it before. You never went through it.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yep. If I bring it up so you can see it a bit easier, the actual woods is the background.
Okay, yeah.
And so this was the push through the quickest way into the 5 Shires.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Dimitri's happy to just push forward on his phantom steed across the ford. So,
as it doesn't really touch the ground, it crosses the river quite easily.
Yeah.
I guess I would attempt to follow suit.
Yeah, I guess I try to guide my horse across.
So the first one who spoke up first gets to tell me how they cross, considering Dimitri, horse doesn't really have feet.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Okay. So I would recommend you probably dismount and walk the horse across, but...
Sure, I'll give that a go.
Okay, so you are you going to try to cross via the stepping stones, or just walk through the water?
Oh, yeah, stepping stones, definitely. I'd prefer not to get too wet.
Okay, so that becomes a acrobatics check as you start moving across the water.
Oh. I'm just having a look for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the boot that I got last time gave me advantage on checks involving balance. Does that count?
This does count.
Well, the first one was a 1, so that's good. 18.
Okay, so yes, it is tricky. You do manage to make it across fairly easily yourself, but now you get to roll for your horse, and he doesn't have advantage.
Oh, okay, right. Still acrobatics, or?
Well, you're going via the stepping stones, so it is acrobatics with disadvantage.
With disadvantage, okay. That would be an 8.
That would be an 8. Okay, so as you're walking along, your horse falls into the water, or your steed falls into the water. And
When it falls into the water, how deep is the water?
How deep's the crossing?
the water itself is only about 30 feet deep. Oh, sorry.
So,
It says.
I was going to say, the horse goes under?
No, it's actually. It said 30 feet, but then it pushes it 30 feet downstream. The water is fast enough to push it 30 feet. So it is about 5 feet deep. Still enough to half submerge the horse as it is pulled. Do you hang on to the reins?
I would... yeah, I'm going to try to jump onto the horse as it gets pulled away.
Okay, so give me a athletics check as you go to jump onto the horse.
That's a 12.
Okay, you land on the side of the horse while it's going sideways down the river. You are surfing your horse.
Yay!
Cool.
How far has he been knocked down the river?
Moved about 30 feet down the river.
Can I use shape water and make a trench just to save them?
That's completely up to you. Would you like to do that?
It's only 100 feet, so I can't make it across the entire river. But I can probably still do it enough that they can get back to dry land.
Well, you can do it such that they have 100 feet to the other side and can get out.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Because, making them come all the way back to do the trip again just seems mean.
Okay. We're doing I'll at least the third way back when the belts.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You hear a horse's frightful scream and potentially a swearing from someone as the horse just drops onto the ground. Well, there's now a trench where there used to be water.
See, look, it was easy.
Is that the whole way across or just halfway?
It does
It's
3/4
That's
of
the
the
last
way
100
across.
feet.
Yeah. So if I was going to get my horse to walk through the water, would that be an athletics check?
It would be an athletics check for the horse to not get washed downstream.
Can I enhance ability on my horse?
You can.
Excellent. Then I'm going to go next. I'm going to enhance ability bull strength on my horse.
Yep.
I am going to walk on the water because I can.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to lead Zadia. No, that's wrong. Vidri. Vidri is my horse's name. Across
Great.
the water.
You can walk perfectly fine without any problems. You do notice that underneath you it feels like you're walking on solid ground, and every time you lift your foot there is like this small circle of ice floating down river.
Awesome.
And your horse gets to make the athletics check with advantage because the ground it's walking on is relatively stable.
That might
Okay.
Well, when you take a horse to balance on unstable rocks, it was likely to fall over.
15.
Okay, he makes it across without any problems and has a look of contempt at the other rider.
That's right. I'm there using prestidigitation to clean it up and warm it up and get the water out of my boots if I can.
You do notice all your gear is completely soaked.
Mine isn't, and my horse I'm fairly sure has forged rivers before and is used to a bit more colder weather than it is, so...
He has. He stopped midway to have a drink and then continued on.
I'm just gonna, maybe brush him out a bit, but I'm not that fast.
How many creatures are there? Well, how many things are there left? I mean, that's not English. Who is left to get across the river?
Well, there is Drazzle. There is
Valen?
Valen. There is...
Dimitri's across, I'm across, and Dothan's across.
Okay. So
I'm just walking water.
and you just watch the amazing Elf Lord just do the quick step across.
Yeah.
Should have given myself guidance. Oh well.
Because
I'm
how
gonna
do
give you guidance.
I forgot about that. Oh well.
Make sure to give you guidance. I mean, he said he was sure he wasn't going to get you.
I don't know why I didn't initially start to read this spell. I had to spell water walk. 10 million creatures gain the ability to walk on water.
Then
As you're,
I want to include the horses.
as you're
Yeah.
considering that, you see Drazzle just ride his horse into the water, and it has no problem swimming across to the other side.
I figured that Drazzle's mount wouldn't have an issue.
Though you do see that it does toss a couple of the boulders out of the river along the way because it was in its way.
And his left epic done.
So there's Valen and Valen's horse, Generic and Generic's horse, and everybody else is across, yeah?
Yep.
So you could cast Water Walk on the last 4 creatures.
Yeah, I could.
Or you could do an athletics check.
I mean,
Horses have +3.
We used to travel by a plant one and just teleport us both across.
Okay. When's the last time you did it in a Feywood?
I'm going to say he's never done it in Feywood.
Okay, so you cast your transport bioplants. You see the portal open.
I don't suppose Dimitri recognises the spell, does he?
He does.
From 150 feet away. And being a druid spell, but it's not something he's necessarily used, but...
Hey, my horse has advantage against strength checks for the next hour.
Yeah. Yeah,
certainly if Dimitri recognised the spell as being cast, he would give him some advice. But
Well, as it's over 150 feet away, I'm sure the advice is well ignored.
Absolutely.
I feel like I should make that one go through first.
He does say coward as he goes through.
I'll follow in behind him because it's only 6 seconds.
Okay, so once you step through, you find yourself in a completely different woods.
Yeah, split the party.
And the trees all around you are looking at you. They have red glowing eyes, a nicely toned black bark.
Red line eye, obviously plays the figure.
I think at this point, when they haven't appeared on the other side, Hildren's side looks at Dimitri and said, "So what went wrong?"
Oh no, the whole thing is this is all in the same 6 seconds it takes for it to transform them through. The Feywild happens, he can be there for a year and come out the other side and it's still just that 6 second transport.
Cool.
Or it could be vice versa, but...
Do I have to burn some trees down?
They do not look very burnable. They would love you to try, I'm sure.
I'm gonna just not touch anything until I end up on the other side.
You can see what appears to be about 500 feet ahead of you, the other end of the portal that you're traveling through.
Okay, well, I'll point it out and...
Sneaky, sneaky?
I think they've already seen me.
Yes.
I'm thinking of things other than the trees.
Yeah. That's
The
what I'm concerned about as well.
And you see two of the trees get up and move and sit in front of you between you and the portal.
That's the right one.
Considering it's not only Fey touched, but mostly associated with the Unseelie?
Yep. That would be correct.
I'm sure you'll be fine.
What doesn't consume and devour you is I'm going to make you stronger, I'm sure.
No, that's not going to help me. What other spells do I have prepared?
Well, how would you like to speak to the Unseelie Fae you've just summoned to your presence? Or you've literally walked into their home?
G'day. Do you speak Sylvan? It's Sylvan that Fae speak, isn't it?
It is the Fae speak, yes.
Do you speak Sylvan?
Probably not.
You're a druid who doesn't speak Sylvan?
I am druidic, if that works.
I'm really wishing I'd gone with you now. I speak Sylvan.
Yep, so...
I think I picked, like, normal languages. I didn't pick any rare ones.
Yeah, I speak Sylvan as well.
Let's just say we assume that you've learned Sylvan as part of your druid training. Because a druid who can't speak Sylvan is the same as a druid who can't cast spells.
Ah,
And I don't think Balin would be much help in this situation.
so I realize now I gave myself. I have Common, Druidic, Elvish, and Infernal. Don't know why I gave myself Infernal.
Because you're a pyromaniac?
Probably.
But also, the way the campaign works, you've got lots of opportunity to pick up extra languages in downtime. So, yeah, there's no reason why you wouldn't have picked up Sylvan.
Okay.
Let's just say you've got it for the moment.
Sorry, just passing through. I mean no harm. Friend here also means no harm, I assume.
And
How's Balin looking?
he's looking a little confused, and one of the trees asks, "What do you offer?" We don't have one of those.
They don't have one of what are they pointing
As
at?
an arm.
One arm.
I don't have much either. I have a cat, and I will summon my wildfire spirit.
I did think you were a wildfire druid.
And they say, "Is that what you're offering?"
It can offer entertainment for up to an hour. However long an hour is here.
So you're leaving your pet here for entertainment?
Yeah, it lasts 1 hour, or until it dies.
So to give you a perspective of your conversation, a Fae had asked one of Jeremy's characters to give it its name, so he told him his name and then lost his name.
As in, like in the sense that it was literally as part of what was apparently the greetings and hello, and yeah, how are we going? Hey, g'day, what's your name? And then suddenly he had my name and I had no name.
So you're suddenly starting to think you may have just given your ability to have a familiar to these guys if you're not lucky.
Does it matter if because he specified for an hour?
An hour is relative in a place that technically time has no meaning.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, 6 seconds outside of this area might be 500 years inside the area.
Or the other way around.
Yeah.
Do you have any spells where you can create something fun and interesting?
I have like all the summon spells that a druid can get.
No summon Fae, that'll work.
I'm going to use one of my summon spells instead of my class ability one that my other class abilities care about me having.
But also consider that if you're currently in the Feywild, your summons may be a bit odd.
I can conjure animals.
I'd pick one that you wouldn't mind not having, just in case.
I'm going to do conjure animals. And summon 8 rats. Which are going to be Feywild rats, I'm assuming, which is probably not going to be good.
Okay, so the rats that spring up around you are all small in size, meaning they're quite large for rats. Most of them have waistcoats and a pair of daggers on their waistcoats. And they are looking at you and going, "What's up, Gov?"
Would you mind entertaining these trees?
They looked at him and going, "Yes, we would. What are you offering?"
I'll give you.
Some trees.
I'll give you a gold piece each. That's the only other thing I have on me.
You're not offering them all the firewood they can cut.
You don't have any spare cheese in your rations?
I can probably make cheese.
And then the cheese is going to rock up your fake cheese and ask you what you're offering.
Yeah, it'll be fake cheese, and it's gonna ask me to sacrifice a piece of ham.
And now you're starting to figure out why most people don't bargain with the Fae. So yes, they are willing to do that entertainment for 2 gold each, they say.
You drive a hard bargain. I will give them 2 gold each.
Okay.
You have 2 gold for each for them?
I have 10 gold. That doesn't add up.
I was gonna say.
Okay, so you have reneged on your bargain with one of the Fae. Whoops.
The other aspect is, you are a top level character.
And surely Valen would be able to spare a couple of gold to help out.
Valen hands over 2 gold rather quickly, saying, "Here's the 2 gold I owed you previously." Because a gift in the Feywild is almost as bad as a curse.
True. So how many rats did you summon?
I summoned 8.
So you need 16 gold. So you would need to return the 6 gold
Yeah, he
you borrowed previously.
gives you the 6 gold.
Yay. We're still like 500 feet away from the entrance, the exit.
Okay, so once you pay the summoned rats, they start to do a play about your life and all the mistakes you've made.
That sounds like a lot of burning buildings.
You can take down to 500 years in this 6 seconds.
And the trees are telling you they're not budging until it finishes. So they are going through your entire life's history, which seems to go for about, it feels like days you're waiting here.
Your whole
Until
life back before your eyes.
a word at a time. And by the time they finished, all of them, including the trees, are howling with laughter.
How do you feel, Generic, after seeing all the mistakes of your life laid out?
In
Lay out
comedic
for you.
form.
He's already burning down more buildings.
Is Valen rolling around in laughter?
He is, because it's very hard not to laugh. Could you imagine someone using cutting comedy to point out someone's mistakes?
I like these rats.
Might need to summon them again.
They do say that their price goes up with every summoning.
Yeah, Dimitri can pay them.
I'd be willing to chuck a couple of gold if I get some decent comedy.
Okay, so you feel like a lifetime has passed before you finally reach the other side and pop out, and see the others are still waiting for you. And from their perspective, you enter and exit the tree at the same time.
And so yeah, as you come out of the tree, presumably somebody will beat you. I wouldn't do that in the Fae Forest.
How flammable are the trees here?
Oh, the trees here are quite flammable, actually.
And I definitely wouldn't do that in the Fey Forest.
And yes,
We're going to get somewhere where you can destroy some stuff. I'm sure we're going to get into combat sometime soon.
I'm sure you can burn everything down along your way. No one will notice, I'm sure.
I just wouldn't do it in the Feywoods.
Yeah, probably not.
Can I just check, Martin?
Yep.
Because of my connection to Zerchev and where I was raised and stuff, I'd have a decent understanding of the Fey, wouldn't I?
You would, though this place does feel more like you would expect in an area dominated by Loki than by Zerchev.
But it would, my understand, I would understand the sorts of things that would be going on. I'm not a complete newbie to all things Fey.
You have had to deal with unhappy Fey more than once.
Cool.
Because they do not tame the forests in your region. They try to pair with it.
Yep. So when Genric starts talking about possibly burning down trees, I think Hrifna would be... no, wrong character. Hild would be trying to calm things down.
Yeah, definitely not a good idea.
You can burn something tomorrow.
Burn you.
You can try.
And you can see that the tree he came through still looks like it has a red glowing eye staring at you through where the tree closed.
With my passive perception, I would definitely see that.
Yep.
Let's move on, shall we?
Yes.
You had a slight view of a blackened forest where the trees all had glowing red eyes and moved on their own.
Do you tell us about it?
No.
Would Valen tell us about it?
Everything about it.
Including in excruciating detail the play by the rats?
He'll do that to keep you occupied on the journey to the Five Shires.
Excellent.
The play consisted mostly of Genric accidentally burning down houses that he got adopted into as a child.
Accidentally?
Most of them were accidents.
While we continue traversing, and particularly as we're in a Fey-touched wood, I would be scouting ahead. I probably wouldn't use primeval awareness because I would expect to be feeling Fey.
You would definitely feel Fey. You'd feel Dragon, you'd feel Fiend, and you may feel Undead depending on how close the Undead scouts are.
Yeah, so I wouldn't bother with that, but I think I'd be sort of scouting ahead and being alert and keeping an eye out.
Okay, so as you're doing the scout, you're the first one to come across the borders between the shires and the woods. It's like a literal curved line in the ground. One side perfectly manicured, the other side absolutely rampant growth.
Cool, I'd probably wait there for the others. And what time would it be when we get there?
Well, it felt like it was almost sunset, and then you step out and it is light. Looks like it's got another few hours to go.
Okay, cool.
The woods
I'll
made
wait
it a
for
lot
the others
darker.
and see what they think.
By the time they arrive, it's actually started to darken on the outside, and it's almost pitch black in the woods.
Nice of you guys to show up.
What can we see out the manicured side?
On the manicured side, you can see burnable fields for as far as the eye can see. all ripe for the harvesting, looking like it is well grown from the start of spring.
I don't suppose that there's a likely inn or tavern that kept themselves up on the border.
They do not have one here because it kept getting destroyed.
And there
Where
was
exactly?
coming through that halfway.
So where exactly have we come out of the Riverfork Forest?
If you can see where there is a little magnifying glass on the
Yeah.
map,
Yeah.
there is a
So we're
bend
not
in the road.
particularly close then to anywhere.
Nope, that's why that's the road that comes out.
So we need to make camp.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we let Generic make a bit of a bonfire? A contained bonfire, Generic?
I will use create bonfire.
Does that make you feel any better?
I will then use control flame and spread it 5 feet to the left.
Okay. And I suggest that potentially it's worth travelling at least a few hundred yards further into the shires. Because the forest may well get a bit antsy about fire.
Yeah, that's a good point. Move a bit further out.
Looking around, because I'm going to want to forage to help boost our rations, does it look like I would get a better yield of hunting and foraging from the forest, or?
Well, you can forage without leaving the path because the what they planted is quite easy to grab as you go.
I don't want to steal things from people.
Well,
I was sitting with there was no inns or taverns, but there were any farmsteads.
there are no farmsteads on this side of there. You'd think that this is the outskirts of farmland that may be 6 or so miles away.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no fence, it means it's free to take, right?
Does it look like there's any small animals or anything I could add some hunting to it, and so we're not just, foraging?
Well,
I like a little bit of meat with my meals.
you can see a couple of small lambs nearby.
Again, that makes me think they're people's property.
I'm sure the markings on them are just coincidence.
There's no rabbits, squirrels.
Possibly, but they may be living closer to the settlements where they get fed regularly.
And did I see anything that looked like promising hunting or foraging areas in the Fey Forest?
Many of those. But they may be hunting you in return.
Yeah, but I'm used to that. I might suggest, before we go too far in, and see if anyone wants to come with me, but I'll also probably be stealthy by myself, I might suggest that I go forage back in the forest a bit.
Yeah, I'm definitely happy to come along. I can keep up.
Cool. So if Genrick, Dimitri,
Valen and Druzzle will stay
Valen,
behind.
Drazzle, and Chalden, want to go forth and find somewhere that seems like a decent campground, then Dauphin and I can go do a little bit of hunting and foraging. Not straying too far from the path, but,
Well, that's the trick. Most of the time you leave the path, you never find it again.
But again, I'd have experience in Fey Forests.
You have. You've known many of friends who have gone into the Fey Forest and come out years later untouched.
I'd have some tricks.
It's really enough not to actually bother hunting them.
Yeah, but I would have had, considering the character I am, I would have had to spend, and probably in my training, had to spend some time in the Fey Forests.
It's all about negotiation.
So if I come across a Fey that, need some negotiation, then yay,
If you leave the path, you have to negotiate your way back.
But on the way, I feel like on the pathway, I would have kept an eye out for some possible areas of forage that would have been close by.
There are quite a few. A lot of the forage places are along the path.
And I would have been looking for small animals that I could hunt.
You can hunt off.
You can't recommend hunting in the blue forest.
You can hunt off the path as long as you've negotiated the right to do so.
But I would have seen. I'm sure there would have been animals that crossed the path.
Oh, there are many. It's when you step off the path, you have entered their domain.
Yes, so I would stay on the path, forage, and keep an eye out for small animals I can take down
that is
on the path.
Completely doable. That's how you spend most of your time, unless you've negotiated the right to do otherwise.
Which I probably would have negotiated previously in my home areas, but not in this forest.
And always learn to write down the words you use, because that's what you're bound to.
Yes.
It may be a one-time deal, it may be a lifetime deal. Very hard to tell if you get the words wrong.
Yep. So, yeah, I don't think it's too much of a risk, Dauphin, if you and I go and do some foraging, staying on the path, and I would reiterate this very heavily, staying on the path and keeping an eye out for some small creatures we can hunt in the hopes of getting some meat tonight, because meal's not a meal without some meat.
Though you managed to grab quite a few rats of unusual size.
Oh, man, you're right.
They didn't run very fast in their waistcoats.
There were only 16 of them, so you did well.
Excellent.
Yeah. Their waistcoats floated down.
So I managed to get enough rations to last us 1 night, 2 nights.
Do you think you could probably get enough supply out of that to last maybe 5?
Excellent. I don't need to do this for a while.
Fairly hefty rats.
Large rats.
Hey, I have no problem eating large rats.
Well, there were rats of unusual size. I'm sure they don't exist anymore.
Cool. So then we can return and look out. I'm sure that Genric's made a fire that I can see.
Okay, so you step out of the forest and you see dawn rising.
Oh, that.
I got excited.
And you realise you've been out all night foraging.
Well, you hope to take 1 night.
I got lots of supplies.
Yeah, at least you don't have to do it for a few days.
For the people who didn't go foraging, I would like to cast Hero's Feast.
Okay,
Don't waste that chalice.
And
What are you talking about? I stole it.
Yeah, but it gets consumed, doesn't it?
Does it?
if it doesn't say it's consumed, it doesn't. But most of them will say they get consumed. So as you're looking out, you don't see signs that anyone has come out this way for quite some time. You've got your game, but you don't recognize any tracks.
Including our own.
And I can't see a bonfire on the horizon.
You can't see a bonfire on the horizon either.
Genric, you're letting me down.
So the entire fields are burnt to the ground.
What do I have? Damn it, I didn't hunter mark anybody, but that only lasts an hour.
Well, give me a nature check.
Okay.
Not bad with nature. I sort of made sure. Nature, not survival?
Nature.
Damn it.
Guidance!
Yay!
You probably should do it. I'm not great at either.
I got a natural 20, guidance gives me another 2, and I have a +4 to nature. So natural 20 with a 26 all up.
That is pretty good. Looking up at the sky and the position of the moon, you came out of the woods 2 days before you went in.
Oh! So should we go find a camp spot along the pathway and wait for the others?
Sounds like a good idea. I can't wait to see their faces.
Well, the thing to think of course, is you know that when we came out, we saw no evidence of any campsites or establishments when we got there.
Yeah.
Well, the assumption
That's what I'm
is
saying. Move away a bit.
the assumption is they went back into the woods on foot, not on their horses, because most of the time tracking game, you generally don't want the sound of horses with you.
No, I would have left my horses with the party.
So they could literally walk through the path here without leaving too much of a trace quite easily, especially if they use a path without trace spell.
Yeah. And I'm fairly stealthy naturally, so...
Yeah. It's interesting the fact that you weren't there waiting.
As I said, I would probably go down the pathway a bit.
Well, they know they
Partially
didn't.
for the fun of surprising you.
They do know that they didn't see themselves, so they've heard that time doesn't like it when you change things.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see myself, so I would go far enough away that it's probably like find a decent camping spot for a couple of days.
Yep.
And far enough away that we wouldn't see ourselves exit the woods.
Yeah, good point.
You find a nice secluded camping spot which has a circle of trees. The only trees in the field.
Cool.
Provides lots of
I
cover.
guess we set up camp here for a couple of days. We have plenty of food.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Probably enough time to make some rodents of unusual sized jerky.
that is true. Okay, so from the other's perspective, you've just watched your two hunters go into the forest. You ride on to find a cove of trees, and you see that your hunters are sitting there with a bunch of their hunt.
Hi, guys.
I take it the time didn't go well.
I wouldn't say it didn't go well. I think it worked quite well.
If anything, it was more efficient.
Yep. We've had plenty of time. We have jerky. I've made the forage and stuff a little less perishable, and we've got a nice stew going.
And they've got a pile of furs.
We found some unusually large rats.
How many furs have I got that I can sell in the future?
16.
16. Excellent.
And even the rat's tails are either used as a delicacy or a spell component.
Yeah, I'd probably keep them aside. So 16 ROUS furs and 16 ROUS tails.
Mm-hmm.
And 32 RUSEs.
Are they useful?
You can make anything useful if you try.
There can't be 30 of them because 2 of them are missing here.
I might have made some jerky out of the ears.
I'm sure your horse enjoys it.
Yeah, probably.
You know that Druzzle's horse does enjoy your jerky.
Excellent. I would be willing to give a nice amount of... I'd probably be trying to make, while keeping some distance, trying to make friends a bit with Drazzle's horse.
He seems friendly enough, except for the fact that he just feels wrong.
I can handle that.
And he does leave claw marks behind where he walks.
Again.
Like any horse.
Okay, so yes, you in the time you've been there, none of the halflings have come to investigate.
I get a feeling they don't like coming near the fake touch forest.
Well, they only do so upon necessity, not out of enjoyment. And you do know from the maps that there is a major battle site in the next day's travel.
I might have, during those 2 days, done a couple of sweeps to see what's around.
Well, there is a mass grave that seems to go on for almost 10 miles to the south.
I'd probably ask Dimitri if there's any news that would explain that.
Or where the dwarf came through.
Or the orcs, or the humans.
Is it something that might interfere with our mission?
No, it's like that. But Dimitri did not say probably the dwarf come through. They give a long and detailed explanation about exactly what battle and battles occurred at this location. In 1016, we had the Battle of the Bloodline.
Was it a fresh mass?
In 1742.
Was it a fresh mass grave or an old one?
It looks like a well-tended one. And from the looks of it, there have been quite a few of elven bodies laid to rest amongst the graveyard. Not in elven tradition.
What would be in tradition?
Elves don't bury their dead.
Do they cremate them?
No, their body, once it dies, is unimportant.
Right. Cool.
From Elvish tradition, they may do something with it for convenience sake, but they rarely care what happens to the body after they've died. If there's still life in it, they'll do what they can to save it, but after it's passed beyond, the spirit's the important part for them.
Okay. Hence banshees.
And the gravestones have a strange language on them.
What languages?
It's not a language most of you are familiar with.
What have I got? I've got Common, Elvish, Giant, Primordial, and Sylvan.
It has hints of Sylvan, of Elven, but it is not those languages. They may have been a parent language of some kind. Dimitri does know that the elves learnt from a race of... the halflings learnt from a race of elves that have long since passed on.
Yeah. Dimitri was going to be looking at it and see if he can recognise it specifically.
He recognises the symbolism. They carry the symbolism of the gentle elves of Hollowworld. You have found their gravesite.
I was about to say, hang on, this is an evidence of halfling, the halfling language.
It is the it is the root of the halfling language, not the language that they developed.
Yeah. So, obviously, everyone vitally interested and would be fascinated to know. Dimitri will start going into a long and complicated history on the gentle elves, some of the information and things like that he picked up from.
It was the gentle elves of the Hollow, or
of the Hollowworld.
Well, in the sense that which will obviously lead into a side explanation and a deeply convoluted explanation of the fact that, well, no, they're not of the Hollow World. It's just that is where they now live, along with all the other
extinct
races
races
who have been perished and preserved by the gods, by the Immortals. Like I said, I spent some time with them, and they're an interesting folk. So yes, so you'll get back on track as to describing more about the gentle elves.
Is this before we sleep for the night at the camp, or have we already had a long rest? Well, Dothan and I have had a long rest, but...
So, yeah, you've had 2 long rests in the time it's taken for them to get to you.
I'm just wondering if this conversation can be had over dinner.
It can be had over dinner because you can tell them all about what you've discovered and hear the tales of the pacifist elves who refuse to even lift a hand to save themselves.
I feel like Dimitri's ramblings are easier to digest while eating good stew.
Very good call.
And of course, what's interesting about or one of the interesting facts that gets discussed or brought up or suppositions that let's talk about is the fact that, well, and obviously, as can be clearly seen, whilst they were completely pacifistic race, obviously they were not completely wiped out by the ones who took them because, hey, there was some left to bury them or to leave the memorials behind.
Well, you do recognise that the memorials are all done in various halfling traditions.
Right.
So,
the fact that, yes, the gentle elves did all get wiped out, but the halflings then cleaned up afterwards.
well, they were the inheritors of the gentle elves' lands.
Okay. Or they felt guilty.
It's one reason that the halflings honour elves above others.
What? You mean even above dwarves?
Do we know... I feel like I'm very hesitant to ask this question, but I probably asked Dimitri who wiped out the gentle elves.
That would be the orcs.
Yeah. I said, they're talking to them down there, so they certainly weren't happy. Well, at least they had strong things to say about the orc, but hey, that's understandable, because the orc almost abandoned the whole, really.
And the centre of their civilization exists in the depths of the Blight Swamp. Because it said that they wept themselves the swamp out of their own tears.
Interesting mythology.
When they were living there, it wasn't a swamp.
It was not a swamp when they were living there, but upon the invasion, it was caused by their tears.
Yes, but obviously, you can only take metaphors so far. I believe everything you hear. This is.
As I'm well rested, I'm quite happy to take watch if we feel the need for watch tonight. Obviously, to switch out, I don't want to be exhausted in the morning, but I'm happy to take some watch.
Yep, definitely help out.
Okay, so as you're able to provide most of the watch overnight, you do notice that you've yet to see Druzzle sleep.
Yes, but I also don't necessarily trust him to wake us up if...
True.
Oh, he never volunteers for watch. And you do go through the night with another peaceful, gentle breeze, the smell of spring, and many flowers upon the night sky. Most of them that only grow on the grave of an elf or other sylvan creature.
Would I recognize any of them? Like, I know I'm in a different ecosystem.
You would recognize quite a lot of them because there are many fae that are buried in the northern reaches.
Yeah, I just was wondering if it would be a different plant from the Northern Reaches ones.
They are the only the only time these plants grow is from the body of a fae.
Okay. Cool.
So they are considered abnormal wherever they grow.
But I think it would bring me a little bit of comfort for something that is actually familiar.
But they're particularly rare if the old folk normally do it, is it?
That is correct. Okay, so come morning, the fields to the south are blooming. They hadn't bloomed up until now. And there's a field of white gold flowers.
Would I recognize these flowers?
Not the normal
Or know of them?
You do know of them. They generally only bloom from the grave of an elf.
Yeah. Okay.
And that generally is reserved for nobility and royalty amongst the elves. If it's an important enough person, they will be buried in a place of meeting.
Okay. So, we moving on, guys?
And
Yes.
People like us in here.
So, we were going to go down to the keep towards the coast, weren't we?
That was the
Or were we going to go up to the keep? I'm trying to remember which keep we were going to.
You're going to Rollstone Keep.
That's the one that's further down. Yep.
It's the one through the Mallowfern battlefield.
Yeah.
On the way, I'll do my glance the future bit because I just was reading it and it resets if I do the rest.
Yeah.
As we pass the flowers and the graves, I'll probably do a quick prayer to Venric and not of memorial. Pay respects a little bit.
And it is a mass gravesite where you can probably count thousands upon thousands of graves here. And after counting thousands upon thousands, there's still many more hours to go through the gravesite.
The
general area of respect as we go past.
Yep.
And what was that, Jeremy?
Obviously, I gotta tell you, obviously still following the trail. I assume it's not necessarily a heavily used trail,
But it is well marked and well maintained. It seems that the halflings visit here on a regular basis. From what you remember reading, it's generally on a full moon.
As we're traveling, I'll do my usual scouting sweep thing. Not as worried as I was in the Feywild, but still, good habit to be in.
Okay, you get the feel of the end of the month approaching. Because there are interesting things that happen at various points of the year. Okay. That one not as important. The next one is always important. Okay, so you're basically having, it's the day before the new moon and the last month of spring. And as you make your way through the pathway, you do see occasional halflings moving between the grave sites, picking out weeds and tidying up.
Cool.
And by the end of the day, you reach Rollstone Keep without anyone even inquiring as to why you're there.
okay, certainly if any of the halflings were within hailing distance, we call out greetings as we go past.
Most of them will wave and continue on what they're doing.
Yeah.
And as you get closer to the keep, you start to see smoke coming from the south.
Does it seem?
Occupied rather than building.
I was going to say, does it seem menacing type smoke or just smoke of civilization?
It's smoke you're used to from your raiding times.
Ah, okay. My alertness goes up.
And as you... Well,
I would...
all the Norsemen have spent some of their time in raids against other Norsemen.
Okay.
I'm basically a Viking.
Cool.
And as
Give a
you...
definition of Norseman, i.e. someone else.
As you get inside of the keep, you can actually see bits of flaming weaponry get fired out into the sea.
Can I see...
Certainly, yes. If as we're approaching, if we realise that the smoke is not necessarily standard cooking fire type one, then
I probably would have... I probably would have ridden back a little bit and told you guys that it's not a good smoke.
Go.
So we're going to up the canter a little bit, but and as we approach, we realise that it's not being attacked from land forces at the moment, but it's potentially under attack. Is that what we're saying?
That is correct. As you approach, you can see that from the sea are glittering bodies in the sunset being hammered from the rear and from the south and from the north by the halfling boats as well as the keep.
So, can we tell? Would anyone of us know who the attacking force is?
Do you recognise the bodies?
Amongst you, the only person who would know about this would be Trellin in his former life. He has heard tales of the Atruaghin attacking the halfling harbours of various historical points.
That's so long ago. But
So, is there anything in particular we should know, Trellin?
just having a look. It's all elf related rather than halfling related.
So the answer to the original question is we don't recognise the glistening bodies in the ocean.
It is from his previous halfling life, which he still has memories of. He remembers childhood stories of the Atruaghin attacking halfling settlements.
Okay.
Can you spell that for me?
They were legends rather than real events, or the way you remembered the story, shall we say? I think it's something like SUA.
Fish people.
Like NHIN or something.
Yeah, the fish people things.
Yes.
Yeah. Merman.
Just something there to give you inspiration.
Cool.
And you can see many of the halfling pirate fleet out in the harbour.
I look to Dimitri and go, so do we skip this keep or do we offer help?
Is this actually just a keep on itself, or does it have any, is a town around or anything like that?
There is a major road heading up to the town of Malofern. And there is the one that heads down to Knob's Boots. But the keep itself is basically a resupply point for their fleet.
Yeah, okay. Okay, we should certainly come in and offer assistance. And so, yeah, we will.
I follow your lead in civilization.
Potentially, there's flaming arrows coming to the keep, or the flaming arrows all leaving the keep?
The flaming arrows are all leaving the keep, and leaving the halfling pirate fleet.
Does there seem to be any any fire upon the keep itself, like as in weapon fire?
Not that you can see or hear, but the Shihurgan's weaponry don't work as well above water as it does below.
No. So if it's convenient to be able to get a look at the coastline by going around the keep a little bit, like how big the keep is or how big the bailey around the keep might be, then Rick, you'll be happy to have a look at the Atruaghin through. If it's going to be inconvenient or not possible to have a look from the outside of the keep, then okay, we'll go for trying to attract the attention of the keep.
Well, you can see that there's about 500 feet from the water's edge to the keep, even at high tide, and that the piers go out far enough that you could have maybe 50 boats moored at this harbour. It's a major stop, and it's designed to be defensible. The entirety area between the wharf and the keep is where you're seeing most of their attacks occurring, as the slithering bodies are trying to reach the keep.
Oh, okay. So they're actually coming up they've beached themselves and they're actually coming up the land.
And so most of their flaming shots hitting the water are trying to set the water alight that leads up to the edge of the harbour.
Right. And how big a force are we talking about attacking the keep?
You can probably count maybe 1 to 200 that you can see moving.
Mm-hmm. And the defenders of the keep and or the pirates on the water, do any of them appear particularly in danger or particularly in damaged or wounded at the present time?
The boats, unsurprisingly, seem to be completely undamaged, but they are some of the best fighters on the water.
Yeah.
The halflings or the other ones?
The halflings.
Okay. Would I recognise any tactics or see something the raiders are doing that we'd be familiar with and would know a good tactic to suggest?
Well, you know many a tactic that requires you to roll amongst the mists and slaughter the opponents. Most of their tactics are skimming along the edges and hitting them with ranged weapons and not letting them get close.
Okay.
There are rumours of the Norse fighting the Shihurgan, but most of them are the horror tales of how the boats get sunk.
Cool.
Apparently running amongst them with your ships isn't the best tactic.
No.
So, what kind of range are we at from the Atruaghin at the present time that are coming up the heading towards the keep?
You're probably about a mile away, so you could make it in about half an hour. Or less, depending on how fast you move.
Well, okay, certainly I'd be encouraging, well, let's get a move on and we'll dash down and confirm with that new systems. Making no attempt to, we'll aim to keep the keep between us and Atruaghin for most of the time, but definitely not trying to sneak up on the keep and give them plenty of notice that we're on our way. Provide assistance as we need, as they might want, desire or wish.
I'd probably be slightly distracted in watching the tactics of the Atruaghin. Picking up some things that we might be able to implement, and just in case, bring some information back to my people.
They do seem to have underwater battering rams,
Nice to know.
which the halflings keep setting alight. They have a fire that burns even underwater.
Really?
I'm definitely interested in that.
Oh, got someone else's interest, I think, too.
Okay,
I can set the water on fire, too.
you can. Some things burn hotter when you get it wet.
Generic, that's something we might have to go and explore in town.
Okay, so as you get within about 100 feet of the keep, you find yourself quickly surrounded by a group of halflings. Even your usual senses don't notice them. It's like they were there, they weren't there one moment, and then they were there.
Even my passive perception?
Even your passive perception.
Wow.
I gotta say though, that knowing that Crowland's got pretty decent range on his bow, it would be encouraging to him to be taking some shock as we moved in, to make it clear that we're definitely going for the eliminating the slug in the sense as well. And again, as Chandra in, Dimitri had his light crossbow out and take shots from a couple hundred feet out big pieces. But happy that the halflings, so how many halflings have currently appeared to all group party?
You have 5 surrounding you.
So my quiver of endless arrows has 2 arrows in it, and it should be decent enough to take out 1 per round.
You could technically take out 1 halfling per round if you wish to.
No, the Atruaghin.
No.
How far away are the boats?
The
1,200 feet.
Yeah, I don't think I've got any spells that go that far.
No, you don't want to take out the boats either.
Okay.
The boats are also the halflings.
I've got some very useful spells, but nothing that goes that far.
Yeah, but we're going to be exact. Don't take out the halflings that are on land. Also, you don't take out the boats that are on the water. Not that they're going to be in range anyway.
Okay.
For the Atruaghin who are in between the 2 of them.
Okay.
And they do have, they've got battering rams on underwater battering rams.
Are they 1,200 feet out?
Well, you're currently got some halflings surrounding you, demanding your attention.
So Crowland got a few Atruaghin who were on the land approaching the keep, and as we kept approaching, and then the halflings of Rockery parties arrived, and yes, greetings. Can we be of further assistance?
They're asking from whence you came.
They're asking in common or halfling?
They do not speak halfling. The dwarves have eradicated the halfling language of the continent.
That's right.
Not a single person speaks halfling in the region unless they're an academic who have learnt it elsewhere.
Or spent time in the hollow world with the gentle elves. We've come across from Immortals. Certainly we are happy to assist repelling these intruders.
Okay, so we give Dimitri a insight roll as he's talking to them.
24.
Okay, you do recognize you're talking to the 5 sheriffs of the 5 shires.
All together at the same place.
Yep.
In which case then, Dimitri will greet them by rank or position, and expressed some surprise at the thought that you're all here together. It appears to be a greater attack than it first appeared from the outside.
Also, we got wind of people coming through the woods for the first time in this year.
Yeah, well, we did notice it did not particularly seem well travelled, but it was not being particularly serious or concerning.
There have been strange occurrences happening near the woods and the swamp. People have been going missing. We wanted to see if you're the people making people go missing.
Certainly, I can't remember what the name of the wood was, it's not off the top of my head, but basically,
The River Fork Woods.
Yeah, River Fork Woods, that's I guess. So I would expect that it was hardly unusual for people to go missing around the River Fork Woods, but they were. The inhabitants of the woods were not a concern for us.
One of them points at Trellin and says, their divinations have said he's responsible for the death of a halfling.
Ah. Who is specifically related to killing of the halfling?
They point to Trellin and say, our divinations say that you're the cause of the death of a halfling.
Yes.
Well, that's because I used to be a halfling.
Halfling by the name of, what was it, Willie Cobble or something?
Top Cobble.
That is correct. That's the name they use.
Yes.
Well, that's a whole different story.
There's a definite justification behind that. But surely if you're under a threat from this wagon that requires the attention of all 5 sheriffs, perhaps this can wait till after it's been repelled?
Oh, the Shuhugan weren't while we're here. The death of a halfling of importance was.
Is that Willie Toss Cobble?
That is correct, they say. Their divinations have said that you were responsible for his death.
Well, it's not really his death. It's just that I changed form into a wood elf.
You are important?
The story is not necessarily that simple, and perhaps he's not the one that's most worthwhile telling a few hundred feet from the battle.
Well, they say we're perfectly safe here.
I'm not going to say I'm pretty uncomfortable.
Well, if the others wish to go play in the battle, that's up to them. But we really need to talk to this halfling slayer.
Yes, but you want to walk here in the middle of the field?
Any place is as good as another. Most halflings prefer the open fields as a place to consult business with. Especially unpleasant business.
You better get comfortable then, because the story may take a while.
Anyone paying no attention to me would notice that I've started to lose interest in this conversation and is focusing on the battle again.
You do get one of the ones does look towards you and says, if you really want to go beat up some fish people, go for your life.
I'll watch the tactics for now. I will may join in a minute.
You gotta watch from you gotta go into the keep and watch from the tower, or?
I didn't think we were going into the keep. I'm just watching from here while you're doing your thing.
Apparently we're not going into the keep right now, but
hey,
give it the option to it. So.
You're the face. You talk to people. I'm just watching.
Yes, okay. the idea that Demetrius the face is certainly a disconcertion for everybody, I'm sure. But, yeah. Okay, so Demetrius said, well, okay, make yourself comfortable, because we're probably going to be here a little while, and look across to Trellin and says, do you wish to represent yourself?
So is Trellin representing himself in his accusation?
Well, Dimitri says we should get comfortable. I pull out some of my rodent jerky to hand to Jenrick and Dothan.
Thank you very much.
As I said, food helps us to deal with Dimitri.
Are you still there, Martin?
He is currently on mute.
So the story is, I got one wish.
The usual question was Demetrius looks and says, do you wish to represent yourself?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Demetrius will stand back.
Or what are the other options? Do I have the option of delegating to Dimitri?
You can delegate to the unwise one over there, they say, pointing to Dimitri.
I will defer to him.
Okay, it's very much like going into a trade negotiation with a gnome.
Well, I've got 8 charisma, so I think anything better is more prudent.
And so, what does this, he says, looking up Dimitri up and down, what do you want to say in his defense?
Well, what are the accusations?
That he was responsible for the death of Willie Toscobble.
When?
Within the last 10 years.
And who's the accuser?
Well, that would be the Halfling Pantheon.
Okay. Are they here to present their case?
We are their representatives.
And so what evidence do you have?
Well, he has admitted that he was once Willie Toscobble.
I'm talking about evidence you have that brought you here.
Oh, that was a divination.
When?
We had that about 2 weeks ago.
So you've been waiting here for 2 weeks?
No, we got here yesterday.
And the divination suggested that the apparent accused was going to arrive today?
That was what they said.
And,
They were quite accurate with their description of him. I actually thought all elves were pretty.
What's wrong with me?
I think Phil definitely laughs aloud at that and starts to pay more attention.
Were the Halfling Pantheon amongst those immortals that were trapped by Thanatos at the time?
He has no idea what you're talking about, he says.
No, I'm asking, something, Dimitri's remembering exactly the exact. As far as I'm aware, all the immortals were trapped.
All of them except for Asterius, the god of thieves, which is also sometimes the patron of halflings.
Right. Presumably that also meant that a number of the pantheon of halflings were trapped.
The rest of their pantheon was trapped, yes.
Yeah, okay. So, in that case then, if we have the evidence of the immortals who provide support, then this matter should be much more simply solved and much more simply explained, considering the fact that it was the Immortals themselves that arranged the apparent death of Willie Topple, and the replacement of said being by the Lord Trellin of Canberra here before you. Did they not explain that at the same time?
They did not explain that at all, because all they said was we had to come and investigate.
So they sent you to investigate their own crime?
They were not involved in what happened, or consulted.
But they were the ones who got rescued.
They may have been rescued, but they were not the ones who were involved in what happened. And to them, it was a crime against their people.
Yeah. And, well, perhaps they should take it up with those that instigated the crime.
That's what they're doing. And they point at Trellin.
No. He's simply the one that wished for it to happen. He's not the one that did it.
He instigated it. You said instigate.
So, perpetrate.
Perpetrate is completely different to instigate, they say.
Yeah.
If you've been amongst gnomes enough, you know that is definitely a problem.
Yep. That's it. The thought of a crime is not a crime, it's the action of a crime that's the crime, and therefore it's the perpetrator that's involved.
So the person who requests something to be done and then someone else does it is the person who requests the action and receives the benefits of it, the person responsible for it?
I can wish for something whenever I like, but if someone else deserves to grant that wish for me, then that's not something that's my fault.
He starts looking around as you start making the wish word around him, as do the other four halflings. And they sigh with relief as nothing changes around them.
Well, that's because he specifically didn't wish for anything. He said he could.
You did say the word wish, and that got them really on edge.
Yep.
They say, be careful what you say, because there are many things listening at this time. Very few of them malevolent.
Well, as I said, certainly at the time that Lord Trellin here made his wish, there were definitely some people listening, including, apparently, those of amongst the accused, or those of the accusers, I should say. Whether they decide to do anything about it, hey, if they decided to be bystanders and not be involved, again, whose crime?
We had sought the guidance of the gods involved, and unfortunately all we got was speak to Trellin, we're busy.
Well, it can't be technology.
Is that incontrovertible proof?
There was no proof. There was the full response of the gods involved in your transformation said, speak to Trellin, we're busy.
Well, I consciously changed from Willie Toscobble to the wood elf that you see before me.
And they go, well, in that case then we do have a pile of documents you need to sign to verify that you have given up all of your heritage from your previous life.
What heritage?
Demetri will look across towards Willie at this point and say, not round to doing your admin yet.
Well, what is the lordship? So I was brought up on the streets of Darrakan and became a bard, and there was no sign of a secret heritage that would have led me to believe that the halfling nature was a good thing.
Well, your father was waiting until you were old enough to tell you.
So Dimitri's looked at Cosm Sally again. So you didn't even know who you were before you gave yourself up?
What? Anyway.
He basically says your father was waiting until you were old enough to learn your family line and your inheritance.
Okay, so is there anything wrong with me being a wood elf and having dual heritages related to my halfling nature and my elf nature?
Well,
You've already said you gave up being Willie Toscobble.
you ended the life of Willie Toscobble and severed your connections with that life completely. So in sense, from the purposes of our records, you're responsible for the death of Willie Toscobble.
No. Willie Toscobble ended his own life.
No.
From their perspective, as far as the halfling records and ancestries go, Willie Toscobble ended his own life. Of his own free will, with the help of the Immortals, to do so.
Quick question from the side.
Yep.
Did he die?
Technically, he was remade as an elf, so that means that he ceased existing as a halfling.
So he never died?
Well, the halfling part of him died.
I never died.
Because if someone never died, you can't kill them.
No. The entity before us never died. However, the administrative being of Willie Toscobble is no longer with us, and
so he was deregistered.
Exactly. We'll get told saying.
I got it in return for
So normally from
my world, and that's what I wished for.
And so from the halfling's perspective, this normally only occurs with a death. And so this is unusual circumstances for them, but they really want to get their paperwork in line so it all cleans itself up properly.
Yes. Is it illegal to deregister a person?
It is technically legal if they make it so, and they have the 5 of them to make the ruling. And they're happy to rule that Willie Toscobble ceased to exist 4 years ago.
Well,
Because as he is full heritage of an elf, he no longer is continuing his previous heritage.
but the fact that I lived and grew up as a halfling until level 8.
Yep.
And then I wished to change over to an elf. That previous 8 levels and background, does that give me anything?
It did. It gave you made you a person of importance amongst the halflings. They were starting to take note of you, and then you disappeared.
The point being that Barton knows that because of the way that presumably the way the Immortals interpreted your wish was you as an individual and those around you who are also aware of the changes maintained an awareness of everything that you as an individual have done with us and yourself growing up in the streets of Jericho and things like that. However, for the rest of the world, suddenly Willie Toscobble ceased to exist or disappeared. And so therefore, yes, the entities that they created, the half-elf or the elven, the wood elf
Trellin.
Well, I can live with the word disappeared rather than was replaced by, and and a new beginning.
Yeah, but from the a legal perspective, from the halflings, is Willie Toscobble is dead.
Not really.
Their divinations
It's in a
say
legal sense he is.
from their gods,
In a-
Willie Toscobble died that day you transformed.
In a legal sense, it's more like a buyout or a takeover.
Yes, except no part of Willie Toscobble made it to Trellon. The memories are retained, but nothing else of the body was transferred.
So the soul isn't the same?
The soul was changed to that of an elf.
Okay.
So he has the elven lifespan, he has the elven heritage, he can do everything as if he had grown up an elf.
Okay.
But he's got the memories of growing up to halfling.
Yes, that was the curse part of the transformation.
All right.
And fortunately enough, for obviously Callan or Willie and the rest of the party, Dimitri got out of the West, got more intelligence and intellect to understand to be able to actually navigate the intricacies of the legal systems to fix up the situation.
They do pull out a couple of scrolls for Trellon and Dimitri to sign. Dimitri has to sign them as the advocate.
Mm-hmm.
But what it does mean is that Trellon will not be treated poorly for his decision by the elven, by the elven or the halfling pantheons.
Woohoo!
Up until then, the halfling pantheon considered you a equivalent of murderer / traitor.
There was no harm intended.
That's why they're here and not attacking.
After 4 years.
I wouldn't be surprised if the halfling pantheon still thinks of it as a traitor. He gave up the wonders of being a halfling.
Though they do say they can actually undo that if you ever desire that in the future.
Nice to know.
Then you have the elves chasing you because you killed someone.
They don't mind that part because, well, the elves get distracted easily.
Yeah.
Oh, look, there's a tree.
Well, to be fair, it's taken, 4 years to catch up with Harvard too. It's not like the halflings are keeping close eye on what's going on either.
Well, it's the first time that he has entered their land since he transformed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they have been, apparently the gods have been waiting for that to happen.
Okay.
Don't worry, there are things like this set up for all the characters.
Yeah.
Fun.
Okay.
Well, your decisions in the game will all have repercussions. Things will happen.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay, so you're watching this pitch battle happen while you're having this legal debate. With many side jokes thrown in about the attention spans of elves, as well as points about Trellon missing out on his heritage and his family connections.
Yeah, okay. So, when it came up to it, it was through two of us. Man, you didn't even know what you were giving up to give it up.
No, I was fully conscious of not being a halfling bard and switching over to being an elven one.
That was perfectly fine.
As a player, I can certainly understand.
As a player, I understand as well, and this was just the story catching up to you.
Yeah.
Yes. No worries.
Okay, so turns out that your family line is well respected in the halfling side of things.
Okay, it's nice to know.
Okay. So, are you, does it turn out you've got a family connection to a certain wife of a certain dwarf? Or had a family connection?
No, but he does have a line to some of the halfling heroes who an especially well-known dwarf slayer.
Yeah. But that's not you anymore. So
Actually wrote the book on dwarven foods, as in foods made from dwarves.
yeah.
Be careful what halfling books you read, because they are literally what they say. They have a book on every race.
Keep that noted.
They're well known for their cooking skills.
And they do say, "Are you going to stay around? Stay around for the fish banquet later today?"
I don't
I would
like
be
fish.
very. I would be very interested to know if they have one for Genasi, considering how small of a community we are.
Oh, there is a very large community of Genasi in this world. It is the most populous world in the multiverse that they can be found in. They have a nation completely ruled by Genasi here.
Okay.
That's known as the Alphatian Empire. That is the main enemy of the region.
Not just having a nation, one of the two biggest nations in the world.
Okay. So they probably have a book about Genasi food.
They do, including how best to flavor it.
Well, they've got multiple books which you can say you've got multiple types of Genasi.
True. I'm intrigued.
Okay, so they do give you leave to continue on to the keep, and they give Trellin a amulet.
Really? Oh,
So they're yeah. I'm not really Toscobble.
It basically announces to those who know that you have given up your halfling heritage.
okay.
Everyone will look down on you.
So
And will require attunement?
it does not.
Okay. Awesome.
They say it's literally a curse and doesn't take up an attunement slot.
But you also can't be unattended, so that's just a typo.
But on the bright side now, their judgment cannot be overruled by any other halfling community.
Yeah. Well, they're going to check on was the if the main sheriff of all 5 tribes was actually present here. Does that represent the main governing body for the 5 tribes?
The 5 sheriffs are the governing body of the 5
That's
shires.
what that does.
So we don't have to go all the way to the other keep that we were going to go for.
That's right. So the so when they offer the stay around for the fish market or the fish festival or whatever, which presumably when they say fish they mean Atruaghin.
Oh no! It came from the sea. It's fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually interested.
Definitely wouldn't miss it. And
hey, some of our fish sticks definitely have their own internal stick.
And also then explain the fact that our primary purpose for travelling from Canberra was to come and see you fine folk on a different matter.
I'm sure that was I'm sure that was the other part of what the gods had sent us here for. We felt it was a little overkill to send 5 of us here to deregister someone.
Dimitri was just about to say, yes, obviously the gods work in mysterious ways. Well, not so mysterious ways. Well, I said, particularly we're apparently the amount of culture work we're going to, that they're going to be wanting to do, since they're happy to run formal court proceedings on murder in a random field in the countryside. Presumably they'll quite happily do equal discussions and situations regarding movement of national forces and things like that. So,
Well, anything relating to nice topics, they generally reserve that to over food and smoke.
well, Dimitri will certainly basically, having with them having the realization that the gods probably sent us here more than really tough couple might have been important, but probably not quite that important. So, Dimitri will mention the discussion of I guess looking to try and gain additional forces to support repel the forces of the Master, knowing that your folk have already sent a number behind the lines.
Well, most of the people who have gone came from Karamikos and Darakan, because we have many populations in both countries. We didn't actually empty the homelands yet, because we were worried about invasion from the Black Eagle Barony and the Shehuagin.
Okay.
But after today, the Shehuagin will be less of a problem.
Okay. Yep. Well, and so certainly the Black Eagle Barony is less of a concern at this stage too. So, but perhaps we can discuss this over food and smoke.
We do have some fresh sushi if you're interested.
How far away is it from dinner?
Delicious.
They have dinner being prepared at the keep as we speak, because, even through battle, our cooks work away. Got to feed
My
the
question
troops.
is, do we have time to go and join in the battle? Or should we just go to the keep and stay out of it?
You can go join in the battle if you like. It's probably going to go for the next day or two. They are not particularly bright when they're out of the water.
Depending, of course, on exactly how much influence the prophet's going to have for it, might finish him off in no time.
Dimitri, what do you suggest?
Well, no, Dimitri's planning on going to enjoying food and weed with the wonderful church of guys here, particularly because you asked the question of how long it was till dinner. That would be a certain time, but of course there's also afternoon tea, after fives, hors d'oeuvres, everything like that before dinner.
The food is never stopped being cooked.
Okay, so hobbitsy thing. I will follow Dimitri, but I am... If they would like some help, I am eager to help, but don't want to split the party.
They are more than happy for you to go slaughter away. They just recommend staying away from the water's edge because, they're definitely fish out of water once they get to the surface.
But they definitely fish in water with if you're there.
They become extremely dangerous near the water's edge, but in the 500 feet to the keep, they sort of slither and just get murdered on a mass scale.
Genric, do you feel like burning some things?
Yes.
They sort of say, try not to burn too much, would rather replenish our stocks.
Yeah, don't waste good food.
You burnt it, you eat it.
Just lightly cook them before, as they die.
Yeah. You're talking gourmet chefs here. Gourmet sous chefs. If you lightly cook them, they can't good.
True, I guess.
Making sure sushi.
Well, if the battle's going to go on for a couple of days, maybe I'll join in tomorrow.
Okay, so you make your way to the...
And miss breakfast, and morning tea, and 11 goods.
I don't need to eat that much.
As you make your way to the keep, you notice it's designed for halflings. They do have a ladder they drop down the side of it and a place to tie your mounts on the outside that is protected from the combat. And
you'll dismiss these.
and they will basically entertain you on the top of their tower, which would probably be a 4-story tower among human lands, but is an 8-story tower here.
So the ceilings are low, so we're ducking.
Oh, you can't actually enter.
They're going to entertain people on the top of the tower with no ceiling.
Ah, cool.
They are very good at entertaining non-human, non-halflings. They just generally don't use them in their defenses.
Okay.
And most of their defenses most of their defenses are designed to take people off at a human height.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like yes, because we've arrived at the keep rather than the town, there's less facilities for info.
Most of their townships are designed that while you have to duck to get in, you can easily sit in comfortably in their homes.
Would I have had much interaction with halflings?
There's not a lot in the northern reaches. They are normally stuck in human-sized buildings.
Okay, cool. So
Well, and most of the interactions might have been on the high seas.
my confusion and naivety is in character.
Okay, so they quite easily help people up. You can go up 2 rungs at a time, no problem. Sometimes even 3. And
How tall is it?
it is 4 stories tall.
I might just levitate.
Okay,
Just because I haven't done that in a while.
and they have quite comfortable seating set aside for the viewing deck of the battlefield.
Thank you for not climbing 4 stories on a ladder. He'll go to fly.
Yeah, I'm levitating up the building. And then picking a seat with a good spot where I can keep watching the battle.
Okay, you see all the halflings give deference to the 5 sheriffs. And
Hopefully we don't interrupt their conversation or their concentration in the battle.
they're mainly speaking Dwarvish in the battlefield.
And he's going up the ladder within 1,200 feet of the Atruaghin.
The Shuagin are easily within sight from the top of the tower. You can shoot away at them to your heart's content.
No worries.
How far are ones on the ground?
They would be about, I'd probably say about 60 feet away from you.
That's right. They're basically within 100 and 500 feet. The halflings don't let him get much closer than that.
Well, they want them to feel like they've achieved something before they kill them.
You let some get forward to make them feel like heroes and inspire the rest to chase.
I might, just for the fun of it, call up, use my Call Lightning 3rd level spell
Okay.
over some of the ones that are crawling towards the keep.
As
I just spend 10 minutes
As you go to cast the spell, you feel it shatter during the casting. As you hear one of the halflings just go, no.
Uh-huh.
They do not approve of magic used in that manner amongst their people.
Okay, then I'll pull out my longbow and take some pot shots.
They are more than happy to supply you as many arrows as you wish to spend.
Yeah, I'm just going to sit there taking pot shots.
And they start keeping score for you as they hand you arrows.
Excellent.
Noting your good and bad shots.
Do you want me to roll for my average, or...?
I'm happy for you to roleplay how good you do it.
Well, I am a ranger. I have raided.
And he does compare you against Trelland, who seems to be a better shot.
What's your attack bonus, Trellian?
Nearly every shot of his is a critical hit.
Oh, because of his
Wow.
special bow. That's cheating! He's cheating!
It's not just gives you a special bow, he also can do special arrows.
That's cheating. I have a normal bow and normal arrows.
Well, they just pat you on the arm and say, he used to be a halfling, what do you expect?
What? So you're saying that it was normal for him to cheat?
Pretty much.
Yeah, okay. As opposed to normal for him to equal with a bow.
Well, if a halfling gets into a fight with someone else on even grounds, the halfling's done something wrong.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
They never enter a fight where they're equal.
I seem to be making about half, maybe 2/3 of my shots. And a couple of them are nat 20s.
Okay,
I think I'm rolling on my own, holding my own.
they cheer every shot, even the ones that miss, even though there is a, you'll do better next time with their cheer.
Excellent.
So they have a prepared bread selection with various fruits and meats. All seasoned quite well.
I'll be snacking while taking pot shots, but
We ask, what meats are these?
Well, they say they're fairly gamey.
Hill doesn't even care.
Maybe picking bits and pieces, but a little bit choosy.
Okay. Since you are, well, that one's Joseph. That one's Paul.
Mostly fruit, then.
Hey, you use what you have, and you do not waste it.
And they do make the point of, you do know that you can actually speak to plants with magic. So everything you consume on these trays were able to be communicated with in some way.
It's true.
You can even communicate with things that were never alive with magic. So the fact that you seem to shirk at the thought of eating something that may be able to communicate with you, you seem to be perfectly fine to eat other things you can communicate with.
Oh, it's nothing to do with the communication.
Suddenly Jimmy's going to become a Fresharian.
You can't exactly. Well, it's difficult to take an arm off a person and for it to grow back.
You obviously
But
haven't
if
tried
they're
hard
dead,
enough.
You've clearly never had your arm pulled off.
How did you know?
and like if it's dead, it's me.
So do you come from a wasteful society where you throw everything away?
No, I come from an efficient society where you don't take more than you need.
We don't take more than we need. We use everything we get. And we share it amongst our communities.
Best way to do it. No waste. It's the natural way.
We do not have a place where we discard the things that are no longer wanted. We find ways to make it useful again.
I'm coming to respect the halfling culture a lot.
Maybe I might make a wish to become a halfling.
Hey, there's apparently a vacancy in the village hospital by family tree.
Hey, I'm definitely picking up tips and tricks to take back home. I do want to get a couple of cookbooks. Preferably troll ones. Or
Well,
giants.
We do have one of our retired captains below doing the main cooking. You could ask him for pointers.
Oh.
Do you see have any good troll or giant recipes?
Well, he's written most of the books we now regard as the main cookbooks.
I might have to go meet him soon.
And that probably involves humans.
Yeah, how to
Just
cook
the
humans.
main ingredient.
How to cook 4 humans. How to cook 40 humans.
Out of 2.5 humans.
Hey, in the northern reaches, you waste no resources.
Though he does have a specialty where you can cook troll that never needs to be reharvested. He still has one from his time in the northern reaches that he's been harvesting from for about 20 years now.
I'm going to have to pick his brain later.
No, that got on Christmas Day.
So they ask, now that we're sitting, relaxing with some food, what is this big discussion you wish to have with us?
Well, certainly Dimitri will be talking about and sit about the food and things like that. He'll discuss, first of all, get some idea as to what they understand as the current nature of the battle against the Master. Obviously, they would be aware of the situation, as they said, that some of their folk had already gone behind the lines, but most of them had come from other nations.
Their version of the Master is the Great Enslaver.
Okay. Considering the halfling's history, Dimitri is more than happy to refer to it as the Great Enslaver. Because much more that sort of terminology is probably going to be fairly parochial as far as halflings are concerned.
Though they do refer to Bargle as the Great Betrayer.
But hey, I'm thinking about the fact that there's not necessarily that much difference between the Great Enslaver and what the dwarves did to them.
There is not much difference between that, no.
So confirm that they've got most recent news and information about the war front in Darrakan.
They have heard that the dwarves have withdrawn from the conflict, the cowards that they are.
Indeed. So, not that their loss is a significant factor on the overall army situation, but it is certainly unfortunately true that the forces that the Master is bringing to bear, including some of the magic of the gnomes, has continually forced the combined forces of Darrakan and its allies back from there, and such that the Western Darrakan has been completely overrun. And so yes, support from all the forces of the known world to repel the Master will be required, because if the Master gets past Darrakan, well, the
elves go bye-bye
to hold them back. The forces of the Great Enslaver get past Darrakan, and so I can guarantee you that the title of Great Enslaver is certainly apt, considering the number of times that we've had to face our own forces fighting against us, having been not even death was able to protect them from becoming enslaved.
Yes. We are preparing our fleets, he says, with choosing his words carefully, to assist in the retaking of Darrakan. If we have any of our halfling masters in the advanced forces, they believe they can shut down most of the master's magic. As the masters, including the Willie Toscobble's father are amongst those trained to stop magic.
Mm-hmm. But they, so are they saying that a lot of those people have gone behind the lines, or are they suggesting that they are willing to send those people to the front lines and or the
They're preparing to come
In that kind of
on
way.
the third moon of winter. Third full moon of winter.
i.e. 3 months after winter begins?
2.5.
When are we expecting the market forces to start moving again?
They have been told that if they go before then, they will fail.
Mm-hmm. That actually sounds like I'm asking in Dimitri's knowledge, when are we expecting the master to start moving again?
The last month of this year. So the first month of winter.
First month of winter.
Yeah.
So
you're looking at 2 months of 28 days, and then on the 15th day of the third month, they will arrive.
Yeah.
But that's just the masters arriving. They're happy to send some of their forces early.
Yeah. There's the other factor. Okay, so if effectively they're happy to commit forces, that's certainly great. Because we also want to discuss then, obviously, their ships and their naval forces are their most powerful asset. But the noting that the master has already taken, like Amsorok, the opportunity for naval battles is likely to be limited.
Well, they do say that if you look along the edge of Darrakan, that you will find that there is a river that runs right through where the master's going to go.
You're talking about the Spiral River?
Yeah.
After it gets past across and heading towards Darrakan. Yeah, absolutely, excellent. And the certainly yes, we've got the river connections.
They do not believe that with your combined forces, he will make it past there before the third moon. And on the night of the third moon, he will unleash all his power.
Mm-hmm. But that's just it. If they're happy that they can effectively their naval efficiency is just as good on a river as it is on the ocean, and it's certainly good, but the just making certain they're aware that yes, it's likely to be river battles, not naval battles.
They do have a large regiment of halflings that can fight on land.
Right, and that's just it. It's the sense that if they're able to send forces in time for the beginning of winter, then that would certainly be advantageous, and completely understand that there are other factors involved that may make it appropriate to not commit certain elements of our forces prior to the third full moon of winter.
They expect the master to himself come forward and try to break the line.
Yes. So that then allows us potential opportunity to plan more carefully exactly where we might be able to arrange the arrival of the master, because there are other forces involved that also awaiting certain signs, omens and portents or events before committing other aspects of their force.
They do say that you need to beware the other 2 moons of winter because the Master gains a lot of power on those nights. If you can hold him back till the 3rd full moon, they can bring his forces down as they approach.
And we'll be eager to review the prognostications that you've been able to achieve with this to come up with these predictions, so we can discuss exactly these portents and best ways of holding out for the first 2 moons. Dimitri's immediately thinking, hang on, we took the sun out for a few months. If you take the moon like order away, then it's going to make a difference.
If you hide the moon from the world, then much magic will go away.
But that was a private thought from Dimitri's perspective on that.
And you find he answers your thought. He must be reading your mind. Well, Dimitri's more than pleased at the acceptance of the halflings and their willingness to provide forces. Understandably, the qualifiers or the limitations under those forces and the delays in which some of them will arrive, but if they're accurate, if their predictions are accurate, it sounds like they should be able to arrive at the time they'll be needed. So,
as he seems to be winding up these discussions, Hild'll come over and sort of whisper in his ear, "Don't forget about Riverfork."
I was waiting to see if you would remember.
Well, as a player, I was actually trying to think, so have we agreed that we're going to try and get them to send supplies? Was that right?
You were going to get them to send one of their relics to take over Riverfork.
That's right, yes. Yeah, certainly as a player, I've completely forgotten that part of the mission. I was still asked, but the game, I was thinking, hang on, what was the recap from the session? So,
with the promise, though I don't know how well we believe that promise, of Bargle to give back the pirate treasure that they were after.
That's right, yeah. And so then, presumably the conversation or the discussion of when they're sending troops would have been involved the question of, hang on, the Black Eagle Barony and the Betrayer, and Dimitri will bring up the fact that, well, yes, on that note, we've actually had word that we may be able to recover a certain item that the Betrayer took from you from some time ago. However, we'll need and
you hear him curse the name of King Halav, the one who took it.
Sorry?
He curses the name of King Halav, the one who took it.
Right, okay. But if Bargle was willing to give back the pirate treasure, but what did he want for it? Did he want anything?
He wanted the halflings to use their holy relic to cleanse the keep of the Ashen King's influence.
That's what it was, yeah. So, we'll talk about the fact that, yes, unfortunately, the relic, the treasure is actually currently being held in Riverfork Keep that has been overrun by the forces of the Ashen King that you may have heard of.
They have not heard of the Ashen King. He is new to them.
Okay.
Or very old, they say.
Dimitri will give some background then on the Ashen King, and as part of that, the explanation or the confirmation that the Black Eagle Barony is certainly not a threat to the Five Shires in the immediate future because of the effects of the Ashen King. However, it can be that those forces and the threat of plague moving westwards into the Five Shires can be eliminated, but there is a certain relic that the Shires have access to that can be used to cleanse the power of the Ashen King.
He does sigh and says he believes
the power of the relic in order to get back to treasure.
He believes you're referring to the halfling chalice of the Black Flame.
It's also supposed to deal damage to the Ashen King in the process by wiping out all his connections to a large number of people at once.
Undead cannot survive within the radius of their relic, and it can reverse the effects of plagues and diseases.
It sounds like the perfect accoutrement to combat the Ashen King, as it would appear that he uses both the effect of plague and abyssal undead effects. So yes, is this Chalice of the Black Flame, could we borrow it in order to gain back the Pirate King's treasure and remove the threat of plague upon the Five Shires?
He pauses for a moment and goes, "You think you will have to talk to the chef?"
Well, okay, certainly I can understand it, but from the perspective of yourselves as the recognised authority, you have no objections to the plan?
They have no authority over the Masters of the Black Flame, but they all respect the chef.
And can the sheriffs respect the chef, or the Masters of the Black Flame respect the chef?
The Masters of the Black Flame respect him. They also respect him because, well, they do not wish to be served in the next meal.
Yes. They like to they look forward to enjoying the meal after the next one.
Yeah. Don't respect the chef, they say. Don't disrespect the chef, they say. The other one is a little more problematic. They say if you stay here, they will have word with him and see what he is willing to accommodate. If he says no, then they will not risk it. But if he guarantees the safety of the relic, then they are willing to try.
Well, either way, we came on us, and certainly we're in no hurry. We managed to meet up with you a lot sooner than we expected to, so we're already well ahead of our schedule.
Well,
where are the keepers of the sacred flame likely to reside?
That is, unfortunately, knowledge only the Masters are allowed to share.
Not surprising, but worth a shot.
They jealously guard the relics of the halflings because it is what has protected us since the dwarves were expelled from our kingdom.
But if you don't even think about certain large seeds.
Okay, so he comes back about an hour later with a rather elderly-looking halfling with a white chef's hat on, completely splattered with blood, which looks a bit black and oily.
I stop firing pot shots and turn to pay attention because this I'm interested in.
He gives you a wink.
Pick up the cookie tips.
Yes.
You see he has probably about 20 odd knives on him, all different shapes.
I like this guy.
You believe from the style of them, they're all designed for different prey.
At the moment, I'm just taking it in, letting the relic conversation happen because I know that's important. But at some point, I want to talk to him.
He looks Dimitri up and down and says, "So, you're still alive, I see. No one's killed you yet for that mouth."
I'm too valuable to have my knowledge wasted.
Yes, so my sister says. With a lot of sarcasm.
Yes, but your sister married Bradshaw.
Yeah, I'm sure she was having a cunning plan that she's set in motion. You know that she now has access to the royal clans of the Dwarven capital.
Yes, but it still involves being married to Bradshaw.
Hey, sacrifices must be made.
And this is something we can all understand.
And hey, a few less bearded folk wandering around causing problems will make the life of the world better, I'm sure.
Well, possibly not the life of the world, but the world itself.
Well, they don't see any downsides.
I can certainly accept that.
Plus, you can make room for their descendants, the gnomes.
The gnomes are a curious lot.
So,
risen above their ancestry.
So I've dealt with you and Trellum before. What about these others, he says?
Well, Dimitri will introduce his colleagues and explain the fact that these are other personnel who are on the equal mission to save the world, as are we all. Or at least make it a better place.
Yes. One person at a time, he says.
I'm Hild. Rapidly becoming a big fan.
He happily shakes your hand heartily.
I return the shake.
You can definitely tell he has worked quite hard. His hand has a lot of calluses.
I wouldn't expect less.
More importantly, your hand still has 4 fingers.
I'm like vibrating with the desire to ask about all these different blades, but I'm trying to keep it in, knowing there's a bigger conversation.
He just winks again and says he'll discuss weaponry with you later.
Excellent, excellent.
And he says, and so what about these other two?
Step forward with a bit of a flourish and bow and say, Defan, pleased to meet you.
Oh, you're one of those who likes to steal power from things you don't understand. And yet you didn't choose to be a wizard. I can't tell the difference.
Well, one's the there's the boring way and the fun way.
Yes, but there's always a price, he says.
Yes, true.
Though, to be honest, he says, poking one of your arms, it does produce an interesting taste.
I'll take your word for it.
He can show you sometime, he's sure. And this last one, he says over here.
I'm Genrick, and that is it.
Genrick, he goes, so, you like small animals, I see.
Yeah, they tend to make getting into small spaces easier.
Well, I was referring to eating.
Yeah, that too.
Much easier to cook while traveling, he says.
Yeah, easy to store.
Well, there's always more to come, especially when you can summon them.
Yeah, but they didn't take my money.
Oh,
And Dimitri's.
You travelled into the Fae, I see.
Yeah.
It might not just be money they took.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll find out soon enough.
That's okay. I got some jerky from it.
This is true.
So he can give you multiple ways of cooking Fae if you desire.
I'll add it to the list.
He pulls out a cold iron knife and says, this is best way to produce the cuts you need.
I'm studying it intently.
It has quite a few runes on it.
Would I recognize the language of the runes, or?
They are strange runes because they sort of look like elven runes, sort of look like giant runes, sort of look like dwarven runes, but are none of the others. They're not even Norse runes.
Interesting.
Yes, well, you seem to be at least representing yourself truthfully.
Thank you.
And you do have a acceptable reputation from my sister. She hasn't recommended killing you all yet.
I look forward to meeting her one day.
He winks at Dimitri and says, I'm sure there'll be a time in the future.
Well, okay. If I'm wonders about the future, one can never be certain.
Yes, and you do notice.
It's always appropriate to plan.
You do notice with all this, he completely ignores Drezel.
In the same way, you just need to know more about Dimitri and Fallon. He's met Drezel before.
Have 5 sheriffs. Did the 5 sheriffs interact with or take note or care about Drazel, or?
They seem to look and shudder in his direction.
Okay.
I don't ignore him. Pretend he doesn't exist. I hope so.
I'm sure they've learnt the hard way. Don't talk to him unless you have to.
I have to admit, I'm more interested in befriending the horse.
I have to admit, I'm getting tempted, but...
Okay, so he says if you're ready to accompany him, he can pave the way for the master to... one of the masters to arrive, not the master. He hates how the... that's why they have referred to the other guy as the enslaver, because they do refer to some of their honoured halfling as masters.
It's an appropriate term for many things.
Yes. Well, he has spent many a day on sea, so since he retired to land, he hasn't quite had the same bloodthirstiness he used to have.
Unfortunately, we all get old.
He says, yeah. And you don't want to stop the younger generation from having their own chance to kill everything.
It's important to let them have their fun.
Hills grins widely and suppresses a laugh.
So he says, is there anything you wish to discuss before I make preparations to leave?
Well, that's right. The will have the opportunity to allow us to make contact with the masters of the Black Flame. And I have not heard much of the sect before.
Oh,
Can you tell me that?
I could, but I would be telling you as I was cooking you. We don't share such stories.
Arrange a meeting?
We don't share the stories of who they are and what they do with outsiders. It is one of our sacred laws.
But you're able to arrange a meeting?
I've already met with them.
I mean, to arrange a meeting for us to discuss our request.
They will never meet with outsiders.
Mm-hmm.
Once I have verified it's safe for them to go there, they will arrive shortly after.
So they will bring the relic to River Fork Keep?
They will.
Very good.
Though unfortunately their magic only works in moonlight, so only on a half moon or a full moon will they arrive.
Well, I guess that gives us potentially a couple of weeks to get back. So no particular rush then.
Well, 2 weeks for a full moon to get back. 1 week for a half moon.
Didn't we just have a full moon?
You had the new moon.
New moon, was it? Okay, sorry, yeah. So, well, let's say if a half moon or anything more will be enough, then...
Okay, so it's actually 2 weeks, yes. 2 weeks for the full moon, 1 week for the half moon.
Yeah. So if a half moon would be enough, or would it make a difference if they had the full moon
Yes.
power at the time?
Their power is at the height with the highest moon.
From what we were discussing with Bargle at the keep,
How does he respond when he mentions Bargle?
He spits.
No, I'm not talking this not out loud. This is me trying to remember from last session.
Okay.
What kind of time do we have a particular time constraint? Obviously, the sooner the better. But the intent was he was going to send out his hobgoblins to provide the distraction and also help to potentially reduce or then increase again. No, that is the blessing that would be they blow up when they died. That's right. So yeah, from the processes we're going there, would there like to be a big difference between the effect or the likely movement of the Ashen King for a week to 2 weeks?
You don't think so? They have managed to keep him away from the keep for quite a few weeks.
Yeah.
And tied him to the location.
And so therefore if the power of the Black Flame was strongest with the full moon, then it is more likely that A, it will work, and B, it'll have a greater impact upon the Action King at the time. Is that fair?
They say it may even shatter all of the Action King's connections to this world on the night of the full moon. If it was the apex moon of the season, it would have the most power.
Well, I don't think we need to wait for quite that long unless that happens to be the next full moon.
Next full moon is the waning full moon.
Yep.
So that means you are 3 full moons away from the next apex moon.
Yeah. But so Dimitri's doing all these sort of calculations in his head and remembering what the discussion from over was. He'll definitely say the fact that, well, yes, I don't think it's necessarily worth risking the Black Flame in the next week. There's probably no rush to get back, so we can enjoy the dinner and head off sometime in a few days' time.
Well, he does suggest heading up via the Mallowern village and then Weresalot village and go via the Fire Rock battlefield before passing into River Fork Keep. They do not recommend going through the Arkelos Woods, as they call it.
Yeah. It was a perfectly lovely little wander a few days ago. No concerns at all.
Yeah, he specifically does not want to deal with the Fae again. They apparently hold grudges.
But either way, certainly we're happy to. The advantage of actually going via Malathurn Township, where Escott, from Dimitri's perspective, is, hey, they'll probably have bags that are more than 3 feet long.
And you see him nodding away to your thoughts.
Yeah.
He does say that they do have accommodation in each of their settlements for, as they crudely say sometimes, long legs. But he just says the longer the legs, the more the meat they have.
Yes. The same for chicken and all others.
It does. Have you ever tried the reptiles of unusual size found on the Isle of Dawn? A drumstick the size of a ogre.
Ooh.
Well,
What island was that?
The Isle of Dawn, which separates the empires of Thyatis and Alphatia.
Yeah. Okay, we have had a visit to, as you'll mention, the name of the quarters on the Isle of Dawn, where we went through the labyrinth text, and the Queen can't remember what the name of
the Empire of Thothia.
Okay. We did get to be wined and dined by the court of Thothia. I believe there may have been some rather tasty delicacies on the menu.
Yes, he does remember passing through there and giving them some recipes. Apparently he had stumbled across some from their distant past.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't believe he's actually been down the Isle of Dread before. I don't think he has.
He has not. And you probably wouldn't want to mention the Isle of Dread to him because that is a pirate bane place.
Yeah, but again, the vortex, I was trying to remember whether he had on the idea of, even if he hadn't necessarily had it at the Isle of Dawn, whether he might have had the lovely thigh meats from the reptiles of unusual size.
Though you do remember that the chef was one of the few retired dread pirates of the Halfling fleet.
Absolutely.
So much like the Dread Pirate Roberts. Just for the other other players to understand what he represents in the storyline.
As I said, rapidly becoming a big fan.
Okay, so he's happy to set out in the next few days, and you managed to actually get through with killing maybe 50 odd Atruaghin for them each.
Yes.
And you've been given a good supply of fish food to help you for your journey.
Shall I keep track of our rations, guys?
You seem to be good at it.
And they've even provided some caviar.
Excellent.
All the nice things they say. And you managed to not actually have to fight things, which was nice.
Oh, you didn't have to fight them.
Hey, when you get surrounded by people, you can literally pull out weapons and attack.
It's quite an option.
It is always an option. Okay, so next session will probably be most of the stuff will be quickly done for you to say that you won't get a lot of threats while you're traveling back until you get back into Karamikos.
Yeah, exactly. The idea being the fact that yes, we've got the a relatively uneventful but well-fed wander through the Five Shires, going back through through East Shire effectively. So take the opportunity to look at some of the relics back at the Fire Rock battlefield.
So the Fire Rock battlefields mainly shows a lot of human, orc, and dwarven grave sites.
Mm-hmm.
It's where they have buried many of their foes.
And then, yes, we will cross back over the border to Karamikos and be heading on our way towards River Fork Keep.
Before we leave,
We'll find out. Yep.
Before we leave, I'm figuring that next session we're going to start off at the beginning of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
Am I able to get some recipes or a cookbook around cooking giants and trolls?
Yes, he does. He actually has a cookbook for trolls, and he says which type of giant.
Is it mainly like frost giants and stuff?
There are frost giants and stone giants in the mountains, as well as some primordial trolls, as well as a few different varieties of trolls.
I explain all of that to him.
He nods and says he'll bring along a selection of cookbooks.
Remember, the intent is we're travelling with him for a couple of weeks.
And some Fae. I'm planning on picking up some recipes as we go.
Yeah.
He says Fae is problematic because sometimes you can be bound by what you eat.
True.
That doesn't mean he hasn't got good cookbooks for them.
Oh, he has
Yeah,
cookbooks.
I'm not saying. I'd love the cookbook just in case.
Okay. So,
I tend to be careful around Fae, but I'm familiar with them.
does Genric or sorry, get remembering names. Dofan have anything they want to ask before the session ends?
No, he's generally repulsed by the lot of it, but it's all good.
No, that's everything.
And you do find that he's one of the few halflings that he is quite happy that Trellin has switched sides, as he says. Always makes eating someone who has transformed an experience he hasn't had. So he would like to be your friend until something unfortunate happens to you down the track.
And then he'd really like to get to know you.
No, I don't think so.
Well, he has no intention of causing it. Out of
If we're gonna be here for a couple of days, would there have been an opportunity to explore and try and find out a bit more about the underwater fire?
Yes, they use chemicals that they mix that they learned from the gnomes.
Would they be willing to share the recipe?
They do not, because the gnomes are very jealous of the fact they stole it.
Ah, damn it.
But what he's telling you is that, hey, talk to the gnomes.
Talk to the gnomes. I will have to follow that up.
And he gives you the address of a house of a gnomish alchemist in Darrakan City.
Excellent.
Yeah. But also, more importantly, you're currently walking with, or traveling with, the saviour of the gnomes, the one who's going to have arranged for their floating citadel to refly and restart again.
Excellent. I'm taking all of this in. I feel that underwater fire would be very valuable to my people.
It is until it goes wrong, he says. Because you cannot put it out.
Exactly. The main problem is you can't put it out.
Okay. Does Trellin wish to add anything to...
I'm sure the idea is that, yes, we've got a couple of weeks of, well, at least a week and a half or so of travelling with the chef through the lovely rolling hills of East Shire and catching up with a few of the creatures, and then into the wild hinterlands of Calamikos before getting back to Fort Key. But exactly where we pick up along that trail, I guess.
Will be next
What we
session.
want to do, but yeah.
I just wanted the cookbooks before we left.
He will happily provide you with a selection of cookbooks.
Or
And
you pick up some in the townships.
I will be learning from him as we go, as we cook and stuff.
so if you've ever watched Delicious Dungeon, think of him very much like the dwarf of Delicious Dungeon.
Excellent. And I'll be probably the most animated you guys have seen me. I'll be asking about all the different knives and blades and...
And he talks about various herbs and seasonings and cut styles.
Love it.
Because
It really is probably the most animated anybody's seen Hild in the time you guys have known her.
And probably the most disturbing thing you learn is every single one of his knives is for serving a sentient. He has no... Okay, so I will go to end credits then, and next session you shall see what happens with the Ashen Master.
Marvelous.
Good job.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you.